Evelyn hadn't seen another car for hours. The gas meter flickered near empty. Yet every sign she passed still read the same word, Hollowridge, 2 miles ahead. But the strange part was, she had already passed that same sign at least 6 times. Her GPS glitched, recalculating endlessly, spinning like a compass without north. The voice from the navigation system repeated itself in a soft, almost pleading tone. Turn left in 200 meters. Turn left in 200 meters. There was no left turn, just trees, tall, dead, and standing too close together, their branches bending like they were leaning in to listen. Evelyn slowed the car, glancing at the rearview mirror for a split second. She thought she saw someone sitting in the back seat, a pale face, eyes open, lips unmoving. But when she turned, the seat was empty. Only the echo of her breath filled the car. Her radio crackled to life on its own, static at first, then a faint whisper threading through the noise. Welcome back, Evelyn. She froze. She never told anyone where she was going. She didn't even know where she was going. Outside, through the fog, she finally saw it, the outline of a rusted metal sign. She stepped out of the car, her boots sinking into damped gravel, and wiped away the layer of grime with her sleeve. The faded letters beneath spelled out, "Welcome to Hollowridge." The sound of wind changed. It wasn't blowing past her anymore. It was circling around her, like something invisible was exhaling, softly, waiting. And when she turned back toward her car, the headlights were off. The keys were still in her hand. Then she saw it faint, impossible, the reflection of the town in her car window. Streetlights, houses, a church steeple. But when she turned around to look, there was only fog. Evelyn walked slowly down the cracked pavement, her footsteps echoing in a way that felt wrong. The sound didn't bounce off the buildings, it just stopped, as if the air was swallowing the noise before it could return to her. The town looked lived in fresh tire tracks on the road, curtains drawn in some windows, yet there wasn't a single sound of life. No barking dogs, no wind, no birds, just that faint vibration like a heartbeat buried beneath the fog. She turned a corner and noticed something that made her stop cold. Her shadow was gone. The street light overhead cast light in every direction, but the ground beneath her feet was blank, flat, as if light refused to touch her. Evelyn looked down at her hands. They were pale, drained of color. For a terrifying moment, she wasn't sure if she was really there. Then she heard it. A child's laughter, soft, high-pitched, coming from somewhere behind her. She turned quickly, scanning the fog. "Hello?" she called out, her voice sounding too small. No answer, only the slow creak of a swing moving in the distance. She followed the sound into what looked like a small playground, rusted metal, peeling paint, and a single swing swaying back and forth, though the air was completely still. On the swing sat a small figure, a child, head down, hair covering its face. "Hey, are you okay?" Evelyn whispered, stepping closer. The swing slowed. The child lifted its head slightly, and beneath the curtain of hair, she saw her own eyes, identical, wide, frightened. Before she could react, the child opened its mouth, but instead of words, a chorus of whispers spilled out, all layered and broken. "You shouldn't be here. Not again." Evelyn stumbled backward, tripping over the cracked pavement. When she looked up, the swing was empty, but now a shadow was on the ground. not hers. It moved on its own, slowly stretching toward her feet. She backed away. But the shadow kept following, dragging itself along the streets like liquid darkness, silent, patient. Then, from somewhere behind her, a door creaked open. A neon sign buzzed weakly to life above it. Motel Hollowridge. Vacancies. The whisper came again, closer now, almost inside her ear. It's waiting for you. The bell above the motel door gave a dry, metallic ring as Evelyn stepped inside. The air smelled of rust and mildew. A thin layer of dust covered everything except the counter, which looked freshly wiped, as if someone had been expecting her. Behind the desk sat an old man, his face hidden beneath the brim of a hat. He didn't look up when she entered. He just slid a tarnished key across the counter with a hand that trembled slightly. The keychain read, Room 6. Evelyn tried to ask if there was a phone, if anyone else was staying here. But her voice caught in her throat. The man didn't move, didn't breathe, it seemed. She reached for the key. The moment her fingers brushed the cold metal, the lights flickered and the man whispered, barely audible, "You came back." Her stomach twisted. "What did you say?" But he was gone. The chair behind the counter was empty. The hallway smelled of smoke and wet wood. The carpet was damp beneath her shoes, like something had been soaking through from below. Every step echoed a half-second too late, as if something invisible was walking behind her, mimicking her movements. Room 6 was at the very end of the corridor. The number on the door was half melted, the brass warped by heat. She unlocked it slowly, pushing the door open with a hesitant hand. Inside, what? Perfect, too perfect. Clean sheets, a ticking clock, a vase with fresh flowers. Everything felt new except the air, which carried that same decayed stillness. Then she noticed it. The mirror. It was enormous, covering nearly the entire wall opposite the bed. Its surface gleamed, flawless, even though the rest of the room was dim and old. Evelyn stepped closer, drawn by something she couldn't name. Her reflection stared back, pale and uncertain. But then her reflection blinked late, a fraction of a second too slow. Her heart skipped. Evelyn tilted her head slightly. The reflection didn't follow. Instead, it smiled. The room around her stayed still, but in the mirror, the lights flickered violently. The wallpaper began to peel. The flowers blackened and crumbled into ash. Blood seeped from the cracks in the floor, spreading toward her reflection's bare feet. And then the reflection spoke a voice, but lower, hollow. "You shouldn't have left." Evelyn stumbled back, knocking over the nightstand. The clock crashed to the floor, freezing at 3:03. The lights returned to normal. The room looked clean again. The mirror was still. But when she looked closer, her reflection wasn't facing her anymore. It was facing the door behind her. And from the hallway came the sound of footsteps, slow, heavy, getting closer. Evelyn didn't remember leaving the motel. One moment, she was staring at the mirror, frozen in terror. The next, she was outside, standing in the middle of a fog-drenched street. The air was colder now, heavier. The distant bell tolled again, deeper this time, almost like a heartbeat. She followed it. The road led her through rows of decaying houses, their windows staring like empty eyes. No sound of life. No more trace of time, only that persistent tolling that grew louder with every step. When the fog thinned, she saw it. A church half collapsed, its steeple twisted as if bent by invisible hands. The doors pulsed faintly, swelling and shrinking, like lungs drawing breath. The bell rang again. She hesitated at the entrance, her hand trembling on the handle. It was warm. Too warm. She pulled it open, and the smell hit her, a thick metallic sweetness that reminded her of blood and old rain. Inside, the pews were filled, not with people, but with figures. Mannequins, their faces cracked porcelain, dressed in dark funeral clothes. Every one of them was turned toward her. Their painted eyes gleamed in the dim light of flickering candles. Some had their mouths open, as if caught mid. Evelyn stepped forward. The door closed softly behind her. Then she saw the paintings. The walls were covered with portraits of saints and angels, or at least they used to be. Every face had been replaced with hers. The same eyes, the same hair, each expression twisted, some crying, some smiling, some looking directly at her with pity. Her pulse pounded in her ears. "This isn't real," she whispered. The floor creaked beneath her as she approached the altar. A small black book lay open, pages fluttering, though there was no wind. Across the front, written in red ink that had long since dried, was her name. Over and over and over, Evelyn reached for it. Her fingertips brushed the page. The mannequins moved, not much, just their heads, all turning toward her in perfect unison. Their neck joints cracked like snapping twigs. The whispers started again, rising from every corner of the church, soft at first, then layered. Thousands of voices overlapping in a chaotic chant. "Confess! Confess! Confess!" The candles flared, bursting into tall, blue flames. The ire vibrated. Evelyn fell to her knees, clutching her ears. But the voices only grew louder, merging into one deafening roar that came not from outside, but from inside her skull. The book in her hands began to bleed. Words dripped from the pages, crawling across her palms in red letters that formed a single sentence. "You were the one who forgot." The bell rang again, one final, violent toll, and the mannequin screamed. The sound shattered the windows, the candles went out, and the church exhaled. A long, wet, human sigh. When Evelyn opened her eyes, she was standing outside again. The church was gone. Only the fog remained thicker than before, curling around her like smoke. And from somewhere deep within it, a child's voice whispered, the same one from the playground. "Now, do you remember?" Evelyn. Ron. She didn't know where or why, only that she needed to move before the silence swallowed her completely. Her breath came out in white bursts, vanishing into the endless gray. Every street she turned down led her back to the same fountain in the town. Square, cracked stone, a statue of a woman holding nothing. Water long since dried to dust. No matter which way she turned, she ended up there again. The clock tower above her struck once, then again, then again. She looked up. Its hands were spinning backward. The fog pulsed around her, opening just long enough for her to see faint shapes moving within it. Silhouettes that looked like people, but wrong. Faces blurred, bodies flickering between solid and transparent, as if the town itself was trying to remember what they used to be. Then she spotted a piece of paper stuck to the fountain's edge, a photograph. It was her, standing in front of this very fountain, smiling, arm around a man she didn't recognize. Behind them, the same church towered in the background, whole and untouched. The date in the corner read October 23rd, 1997. Her chest tightened. That was 30 years ago. She turned over the photograph, and written in faint pencil on the back were the words, "You promised you'd come back before the fog took us." The ground trembled beneath her feet. The buildings began to dissolve, their bricks peeling away into a fine, white ash that floated upward like snow. The air vibrated with a low moan, not of pain, but of release. Evelyn dropped the photo. Her phone buzzed in her pocket for the first time since she arrived. When she pulled it out, there was no signal, no Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi, just a single word pulsing where the bars should be. Stay. Stay. She looked up. She looked up. The silhouettes in the fog had stopped moving. They were all facing her now, perfectly still. Their outlines sharpened, revealing faint faces, familiar ones, her own. Hundreds of versions of her, frozen at different ages, different lives, all staring silently. And from within the fog came that voice again, calm, close, heartbreakingly gentle. "You can leave, Evelyn, but we'll still remember you." Her reflection from the motel mirror stepped out of the fog, smiling sadly. "You forgot us once. You won't again." The sky turned white. The sound faded, replaced by the hum of static. And then, nothing. A man pulls up in his car, filling the tank. He looks across the road. There's nothing but trees, stretching for miles. He frowns. "Strange," he mutters to the attendant. "Wasn't there a town around here once?" The attendant looks at him blankly. "No, sir, ain't been nothing here for decades." The man shrugs and drives off as his car disappears down the road. The camera lingers on a rusted metal sign hidden behind the weeds. Faint letters glimmer beneath the rust, barely readable. "Welcome to Hollowridge." And from somewhere deep beneath the earth, a whisper drifts up through the fog. "Welcome home."